Hey folks, I'm attorney Roger P. Foley, and standing outside in downtown San Francisco, over near the pier, but you can see the trolley in the background and one of the famous markets down here. Anyway, I just felt compelled to do a quick video. I had a gentleman call me yesterday, and he had hired a law firm to handle a criminal matter. It's disturbing when you hear these things. So I just want to share and kind of as a warning to, hey, be careful when you're hiring a criminal defense attorney. This gentleman hires someone to help his family member who is charged with a very serious crime. It's a life felony. Looks like, from at least in speaking with him, probably a 10-20 life case, which involves a lot of heavy lifting as a criminal defense attorney. I don't know if the person's innocent or guilty, right? But in order to handle that case, it's quite expensive. It takes a lot of time. There's going to be motions, depositions, lots of technical issues that you have to deal with. Because if you don't, well, then the person ends up in prison for life. He's charged with a life felony. So the family member goes online and he hires a law firm that has, and I've never even seen this, 600 reviews. 600. I thought I had a lot, 200. There's a couple guys in town that have 200 or 300, 400, but 600 reviews. I didn't read all the reviews, but I did look up the law firm. So hires this person thinking, hey, they have 600 reviews on criminal cases. So hey, this is probably a good firm to hire. So what they do is they go in and they hire this law firm to handle the family member's case. Well, what it turns out is this law firm that has 600 really good reviews, gives it to an associate that has a 1.5 year experience outside, a 1.5 year experience. Basically, they got barred in 2020. We're in 2022. That person was barred. Then what happens is this attorney that they assigned the case to, apparently that works for this law firm, then leaves their law firm and takes the case with them. Now, one of the first things, and I've talked about this in other videos, if you have a life felony and someone's charging you 15 grand, there's something wrong. Because respectfully, there's no quality attorney that can do it, unless he's just a billionaire and he's doing it for pro bono. In that case, why even take any money? Or just say that the money's for costs, because you're probably going to spend $5,000 or $10,000 in costs, possibly experts, that kind of thing. Maybe you could get to 15 grand, but you certainly couldn't handle the whole case, including trial. So what happens is this attorney leaves the law firm. That law firm doesn't give this family any notice. Their loved one's sitting in custody. The only thing that's been done was a bond hearing, which it's not even supposed to be a bond hearing, it's an Arthur hearing. And that was quickly denied. And I always tell people on life felonies, when you're facing life in prison and there's no bond, or it's the discretion of the bond, it's proof evident, presumption great, you have to have like a mini hearing on that. It's a mini trial, and it takes a while. And this family member said, hey, there was no only person that testified was an officer, not the victims, not anybody else. Well, the attorney rushed it. And I understood quickly, because I said, I don't know who that attorney is. Let me look him up. And 1.5 years, they've been out. 1.5 years. They now opened their own law firm. They're working for another firm. And this family member is basically out 15 grand, because you know what you get for 15 grand on a life felony? Most likely, not all the time, but most likely a prison sentence, a long prison sentence. So I just want to warn folks, be careful. Make sure when you get a contract that contract says who's assigned to your case, right? Is it the attorneys whose name is on the letterhead, right? You call my office, Law Officer Roger P. Foley. I'm handling your case. I might have some other people working with me, but I'm working on the case. The case isn't going anywhere. Now, obviously, when a lawyer leaves a law firm, there's an ethics requirement. There's an ethics requirement to contact any clients and let them know that they're going, because they have the choice. They can go with you. If I was leaving my own law firm and going to another law firm, I could say, hey, I'm going to be going to this other law firm. And the client would know and have the option to stay with me, to stay at the old office, that kind of thing. And none of this happened. And you see this stuff with young attorneys. And I'm not knocking young attorneys. I was a young attorney at one point, and I thought that I was invincible, and I made mistakes. But what I always did was bring in the big dogs, right? When I was a year and a half out, I had attorneys that worked with me that were 10, 20 years out, right? They had been practicing, doing trial work for 20 years. I had backup, right? I was the little brother, and I talked a bunch of smack, and then the big brothers would stand behind me and do the big heavy lifting for me. That's not always happening, folks. Make sure that whoever you hire to represent your family member or to represent you is the person that's going to represent you. So what happens, that this gentleman says that he finds out because he goes up on the Florida Bar website looking for this attorney and realizes that they've moved. He calls, he goes, okay, yeah, well, I took the case, everything's good. You just got to pay me some more money and I'll work on the case. Honestly, folks, I said this so many times, I've never met a genius in the courtroom, whether it's a prosecutor, a judge, or any defense attorney, right? An attorney that's been out less than 2 years has no business handling a life felony on their own. Be careful what you sign up for. Make sure you understand who's the team representing you or your loved one. It's so important. I mean, I literally just walked over the side, just had some lunch, and I'm sitting in San Francisco, but I took this call and I just said, wow, I can't believe it's a bar complaint waiting to happen. Not only is that large law firm who was representing that person in deep shit, but the young attorney is going to be in deep shit. You know why? Because that person's going to file a bar complaint. And you know what? That big law firm, the one that had several attorneys working that took the case, their name's on it. They haven't done anything. The new guy, right? His name's really not on it, but he represented him in court. So there's a record that he was in court. They did it all wrong. I'm pretty sure that this family is going to file a bar complaint. This defendant's going to file a bar complaint. And that's what's going to happen. So young attorneys, be careful. Make sure you align yourself with reputable attorneys. Clients, potential clients, people that hire a lawyer or a law firm, make sure you know who's working on the case. It's one thing to see a bunch of stars and ratings online, and there's another thing to make sure that the person next to you in the courtroom is the person that you hired. I'm attorney Roger P. Foley, coming to you live from San Fran today. I hope you have a great day, and please be careful. Bye.